They dedicate their lives to protect our freedom.
You have experiences that mark you and become a part of your being for the rest of your life.
Our hometown heroes risking everything for people they've never met.
This is something you don't see in the history books.
What it means to them when we give back.
Comes from the heart. It's really special. Really special. Means a lot.
And the families who have unique ways of showing support from home.
You're watching a KCCI special presentation honoring Iowa veterans.
And Veterans Day honors all of those who have served our country during times of war or peace. On this day, we thank Iowa veterans who are responsible for the freedoms we enjoy today. But these brave men and women deserve to feel loved every day. That's especially true of our hospitalized veterans who could benefit from a little extra cheer. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Kaplan. Waukees VFW Auxiliary 11517 is one of many in Iowa, making sure our hospitalized veterans always know someone is thinking about them. Beverly White,
the ghost is on the loose to say hello,
has Halloween happiness at her disposal. From the cards,
she had somebody copy the ghost and then the pumpkin,
to the candies.
This one is all sugar-free with this little good-looking little spider.
Everything's on point because our veterans deserve nothing less.
It makes their day. I mean, it's so they don't feel like they're left out or alone.
On this day, Beverly's leading the charge at the VA's Community Living Center. It houses dozens of veterans, some for a week, others much longer.
They need a little bit more rehab to make that next step, or significant injury, strokes, surgeries, things of that nature.
We met Air Force veteran and Des Moines native Fred Van Zant, who's had quite the year.
I had a knee replacement, and the end of April, it got a bad infection in it and the wrist, and I was in here for 6 weeks then, and now I'm back in because of the wrist, and now I'm back in here for 4 weeks.
Some treats. Do you have a favorite kind of candy?
Any.
And most importantly, a friendly face helping him on his road to recovery.
Comes from the heart. It's really special. Really special. Means a lot.
Dr. Jamie Seidel says these visits are just what the doctor ordered.
It's definitely palpable. It's notable. I will often talk with my veterans afterwards, and they have that little bit more energy. You know, they have that little bit more brightness.
You can tell on their face that they're just ecstatic.
It helps the volunteers like Beverly too. Her husband Danny served in Vietnam and passed away a few years ago.
My husband died from Agent Orange.
She knows this would make him smile.
It makes, it makes your heart swell with pride.
And that's the real treat. And Beverly's just the sweetest. This post in Waukee now renamed in honor of Beverly's husband, Danny White. I also want to give credit to Miss Joan Heskett. She helped spearhead the initiative but was unable to meet with us when this story was shot. Well, holidays can be tough for families of veterans who are no longer with us. For 16 years, one man has been making sure every veteran who's laid to rest at the Iowa Veterans Cemetery in Van Meter is recognized during the holiday season.
People will ask me, well, why do you do it? Why do you go to all this work of raising the money to do this? And it's to honor the veterans out here. Thank you.
Wreaths Across America started in 1992 at Arlington National Cemetery. The tradition has since spread to more than 3,700 cemeteries nationwide. Local veteran Patrick Palmersheim has been leading the charge in Iowa since 2008. He says they started with just 7 wreaths. This year, there'll be more than 4,500. Wow. Palmersheim served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. He's also the founder of the Iowa Veterans Cemetery and says the wreaths program is special to him.
To me, the fact is when you see a family and then there's a small child and they put that wreath on that headstone and they back up and salute that wreath, that's what makes this whole program worthwhile to me.
This year, the cost of the wreaths will total $75,000. Each one is $17. You can donate online or by emailing a check. The information is right there on your screen. Volunteers are also needed to place the wreaths on December 16th. If you'd like to take part, arrive at the cemetery by 10:30 that morning. The Iowa Veterans Cemetery opened in 2008. The work to make it happen started 6 years earlier. Palmersheim was the director of Veterans Affairs then and says he realized the need for a veterans cemetery. Tom Vilsack, the governor at the time, contacted him about the idea of selling bronze and silver Sullivan Brothers medals to raise funds to get it started. That began on Veterans Day in 2004. That same year, 2 separate donors contributed a total of 100 acres of land. The next year, the Iowa legislature gave the IDVA the green light to establish and operate the cemetery. The groundbreaking was in 2006, and the cemetery was dedicated in 2008. State funding for it has dropped over the years, though. Today, Palmersheim says it's mostly run by donations and maintained by volunteers with the Knights of Columbus. Another tribute to Iowa veterans can be found on the Iowa Capitol Complex. Coming up, what the Memorial Plaza symbolizes and how it came to be.
We want to do something with it. This is going to be a really cool thing. So just started making this book.
All right, can't wait to see more about this. Telling the veteran story, we're going to meet the Iowa comic book lover, lending a unique perspective of those once in uniform. Many of you may have seen this near the State House, but didn't know what it was. It's the World War II Memorial Plaza. It was created to honor all those who served during the war. At the center is a 50-foot-high Freedom Flame monument. Around the base sits a map that symbolizes the extent of the operations of our men and women who fought in World War II. The plaza also features a wall of memories and the Iowa Pearl Harbor Memorial. The center panel contains the pictures of 9 Iowa servicemen who were awarded their country's highest honor, the Medal of Honor, during the Second World War. Surrounding panels show many reminders of the impact the war had on servicemen and women and the people back here at home. The most recent data from the Housing Assistance Council shows that more than 174,000 veterans live in Iowa. That makes up about 7% of the population. Here's where our veterans served: nearly 3% in World War II, 8% in Korea, about 36% in Vietnam, 18% in the first Gulf War, 17% in Iraq and Afghanistan, and nearly 24% served between conflicts. It is with humble gratitude we say thank you to all who have served. When Iowan Larry Spencer was serving in the Navy, he was captured and held prisoner for nearly 7 years in North Vietnam. He passed away last year on May 21st, which was Armed Forces Day. He was 82 years old. Let's take a step back in time now with Spencer to 2005, when he shared his story with KCCI's Eric Hansen.
Every Iowa veteran has a story. tales of service, sometimes decades old.
You have experiences that mark you and become a part of your being for the rest of your life.
Larry Spencer's life took that turn while flying over Vietnam.
In February of '66, I had the misfortune of our aircraft was shot down, and I became a prisoner of war.
The 25-year-old sailor who'd grown up just off Main Street, Earlham, found himself in Hanoi. War around him, uncertain what each day would hold.
So it's living under that day-to-day pressure and the not knowing. The unknown is the greatest fear that most of us have in our lives.
It lasted almost 7 years. When a life gets put on hold for 2,551 days, you expect bitterness.
It was probably the defining period of my life.
Commander Spencer is actually thankful.
It was an enriching experience that has made each day of my life better now that it's, pleasantly over.
After retiring from the military a few years ago, he came home.
It has indeed come back full circle.
To work on that same main street.
And I can look out the back door of the bank and see the house in which I lived and grew up 50 years ago.
And enjoy a life he insists was enhanced by serving his country, even if it did mean 7 years in captivity.
When you take a long look back over your life, you can be darn proud. And that's a wonderful way to start each day.
Wow. A prisoner of war exhibit at the Iowa Gold Star Museum tells the stories of other Iowa POWs. One of the Iowans featured there is Glenn McDowell. It's this story from 2008. Steve Carlin sat down with him to hear about his experience during those 2.5 years.
I was captured on May 6th on Corregidor.
87-year-old Glenn McDowell of Ankeny is one of several Iowa World War II veterans who supplied stories for the Gold Star Museum's new prisoner of war exhibit at Camp Dodge in Johnston.
Every day you'd see some of the fellas get beat real bad.
During his 2.5 years in a Japanese prisoner of war camp on the Philippine island of Palawan,
Now this here is the entrance to the prison camp.
McDowell saw brutal beatings, bayonettings, and when his captors thought the U.S. was closing in, dozens of his buddies crowded into these trenches, doused with gasoline, and burned alive.
This is something you don't see in the history books.
Somehow he escaped, and ever since, McDowell has made it his mission to tell anyone who will listen how he and his fellow Marines suffered. He even wrote a book, Last Man Out.
In Japanese prisoner camp, we lost about 40% of the men. When in Europe, there's 2 to 3%.
Glenn McDowell loves his country like only a member of the greatest generation can. You can see it in his eyes.
Every year on Veterans Day, I look up and see Old Glory. And I thank the good man.
2009, McDowell passed in 2009. He was 88 years old. In 2019, he was posthumously awarded 13 medals, including the Bronze Star and Purple Heart. Senator Joni Ernst presented the medals to his daughters back then.
The medals presented to Glenn's family and the number of other veterans and families across Iowa who have received these well-deserved recognitions represent duty, honor, and sacrifice. It's the heroic stories of these very veterans like Glenn that truly inspire me to keep fighting for our veterans day in and day out.
Well, there are so many ways we can connect with loved ones overseas today, but in the 1990s, technology wasn't quite as advanced. Next, see how one family got to FaceTime with their soldier during the Persian Gulf War. Plus, we'll introduce you to a group of moms here in Iowa making sure everyone's son or daughter who's deployed gets a taste of home for the holidays. We know moms are always looking out for their kids, no matter how young or old those kids might be. I met a group of Iowa moms who wants everyone's son or daughter who's deployed or serving our country away from home this holiday season to know our entire state is looking out for them.
Push. There we go. Okay.
That's called Mom Power. And the blue stars you see on these mom shirts
how many children you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
is a major source of it.
My son enlisted in 2016.
My first child, my son enlisted in 2019. I became a member within like 6 months, and then my daughter enlisted in 2020.
Jen Fletcher and Tina Kestner are two of about 40 moms who make up Blue Star Mothers of Iowa.
These are like Teddy Grahams, Oreos.
Oh, nice.
Swedish Fish.
Right now, their mission is to put together the best holiday care packages.
Oatmeal and the hand warmers.
For 500 of our service members spending the holidays away from home.
You name it, we'll put it in a box. We've got a variety of snacks, toiletries. We've got some really great little letters from school kids.
Yeah, this is the good stuff because it's straight from the heart. Right?
Yeah. All my respect goes to you, whoever is reading this.
Oh, this one's
I
really
got goosebumps.
Donations come in from all over, from corporate sponsors to generous individuals. Many who have never met the brave folks these goodie boxes are for.
It's hard to put into words sometimes that the support and like the generosity that just random strangers give our kids, anybody's kids that they've never met.
Laundry detergent, games, they're sent all over the globe.
Service members are in every clime in every part of the world, and so some of them are in cold weather areas, and they're just really nice. I know in past years we've had socks that were donated, and you know, after a Marine spends a month in the trenches, foot powder and nice clean socks are really welcome.
Because from good eats to yes, even protecting feet, a mother's love knows no bounds. Okay, I talked to Jen recently. They're going to meet that goal of 500 packages. The Blue Star Mothers will be packing the boxes this weekend. They plan to send them out Monday so they arrive in time for the holidays. And get this, since 2017, they've sent more than 1,100 care packages abroad. Well, the Persian Gulf War was separated into two phases. Operation Desert Shield began in August of 1990. Operation Desert Storm started in January of 1991 and ended with an Iraqi defeat and retreat from Kuwait the next month. According to the Veterans History Project, more than 3,000 Iowans served in that war. But we weren't as connected then as we are now. Soldiers couldn't send a text or Zoom with family members. In this story from 1990, Steve Oswald went to the living room of one military family to see how they kept in touch back then.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Joe and Pat Maroney recently received a video postcard from their daughter-in-law. Both daughter-in-law, Louise Maroney, and the Maroney's son, Mike, were married 2 years ago. Not only are they husband and wife, they're also both in the U.S. Army, and both are part of Operation Desert Shield in separate units. The video gives the Maroneys a unique look at their loved one's living conditions. The showers that don't have hot water.
We're still working on a method to heat our showers.
And the things they'll use if they get in hot water.
Here's my bunker that I'm going to go in if there's a problem. Let's hope there's not a problem.
For Pat Maroney, the only thing wrong with the tape is it's too short.
It's only 15 minutes. I could have watched 2 hours. That's why I've replayed it, dozens of times already.
Maybe other Iowans who have got people over there would like to see what the sand looks like and what the place looks like a little bit too.
Joe even brought 3 of his coworkers home last week on their lunch hour to watch it. So it's been spread around. She said spread it around, so that's what we're doing, obviously.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Valentine's Day, Happy Lent, Happy Easter, all at once, okay? You take care. Goodbye.
A Des Moines comic book production company is helping tell veteran stories through a unique perspective. KCCI's Jody Long spoke with the man behind it.
There is something about comic books.
I don't think there was a particular book. I think it was just like overall.
That has hooked Basi Afia since he was a kid.
Yeah, me being a nerd is how it came to be.
Now, 26, he's creating his own.
Life, I have all these ideas and stuff in my Google Drive, and lockdown happened, and so it gave me a lot of time to be able to organize it.
From the characters,
he's focused on his individual situation,
to the plot, down to the colors.
That futuristic neon light.
His idea finally on paper after months in the making.
A little bit, yeah, just a little bit. I get a little excited.
Excitement twofold, sharing his works as a creative and his perspective as a soldier. Basi serves in the Iowa National Guard. In his latest novel, a veteran is the main character. Basi wants veterans to be able to see themselves in his book.
It just talks about a lot of veteran issues like veteran homelessness, talks about the different experiences that soldiers have in the military.
The storyline centers around veterans' views of their time while serving, something Basi believes can impact their lives after active duty.
I think it should be more truthful, more realistic. Not, it's not always positive, it's not always negative. There's a happy space right in the middle, and that's where the truth is at.
Basi is partnering with the 1111 Project, an organization working with veterans to help them find resources. The nationwide nonprofit introduced to him by pro race car driver Colin Garrett. The two just happened to meet at a conference earlier this year. The realities veterans face is something Basi says all Iowans should care about. This book, a creative way in doing so.
Whatever your gifts are, whether you're a professional race car driver, a comic book creator, a soldier, whatever, you can play a part in something that can bring us all together.
Wow, that's really neat. In 1999, an artist saw a boulder outside of the town of Casey and turned it into a canvas to honor military veterans. Today, there's a unique mural on a boulder in each one of Iowa's 99 counties, thanks to Ray Bubba Sorensen. Steve Carlin went to that very first mural that inspired the Freedom Rock movement in this story from 1999.
Around here, they call it the Kids Rock, because the kids tend to paint whatever they want on this 12-foot tall boulder at the entrance to the Schildberg Gravel Quarry along Highway 25 just east of Casey. But just before Memorial Day, one of those kids came up with this. And now it has the truckers and everybody else in Adair County talking.
Well, it's nice to see that somebody appreciates what a lot of us has done, even those before me that did more.
The only thing today's generation knows about war is what it sees in the movies. And it was the movie Saving Private Ryan that inspired Ray Sorensen II to do this.
I'll see you on the beach.
Sorensen's mother says her 19-year-old son saw director Steven Spielberg's tribute to the American soldier and knew he had to do something.
It's something he wanted to do for the veterans. He said, we need to thank these veterans.
The Iowa State University art major thanked them by spending nearly 12 hours on the mural of the famous March 16, 1945 Marine flag raising on the island of Iwo Jima. Now they're thanking him.
And it's just not World War II, but for everybody that served in war.
And for everyone who now lives free, because so many Americans made the ultimate sacrifice.
And we want to thank you for joining us for this special presentation, and of course a special thank you to our veterans on behalf of KCCI for all you've done and all you continue to do for our country.